Huath, Hawthorn, the Threshold Blade. Keywords: boundaries, sacred danger, hidden power, initiation, taboo. Guardian of the Threshold, Huath is not merely a boundary. It is the embodiment of the sacred edge, the moment before the descent, the breath before the blade is drawn. In Celtic lore, hawthorn trees stand as natural sentinels at the entrances to places of power, fairy mounds, graveyards, ancient wells, and cursed battlegrounds. To pass by them without respect is to risk transgression. To cut one without cause is to invite misfortune. For the dragon slayer, Huath is that razor-thin divide between worlds, the line between the human and the mythic, the sane and the monstrous. It is not just the entry to the dragon's domain, but the dragon's psychic perimeter, the zone where certainty dies and myth begins. Crossing into Huath's shadow is not done by accident. It is a conscious act, a ritual of bravery and self-annihilation. The slayer walks past the hawthorn knowing they may never fully return. Huath guards the liminal, not to keep others out, but to ensure that only those who understand the price of power may pass through. It is the point of no return, the sacred moment where fear becomes fuel and danger becomes necessary. The Thorned Path. Hawthorn blooms with soft white flowers in spring, yet its branches are armed with hard, piercing thorns. This paradox lies at the heart of Huath. Beauty wreathed in blood, sweetness crowned in pain. The dragon slayer's path is never smooth or safe. It is jagged, fraught, and merciless. Every thorn along the way is a lesson, every cut a consecration. To walk the path of Huath is to know that the closer one draws to power, the more likely one is to bleed. It marks the place where romantic visions of heroism are stripped away. Huath teaches that the sacred is never safe, and that protection often requires sacrifice. For the dragon slayer, it is the discipline to hold the blade without flinching, to enter shadowed spaces not with pride, but with humility and precision. Huath demands that each step be weighed, that each strike be justified. The danger is not just from the dragon, but from the shadow within the slayer, the temptation to become the very thing they hunt. Cursed but blessed. In folk tradition, the hawthorn is sacred. To cut it down is to risk inviting disease, madness, or death unless the act is performed under ritual sanction, for a higher purpose. This is Huath's paradox, a symbol of forbidden violence, which becomes holy only when it protects life. The slayer's sword is not drawn for conquest, vengeance, or vanity. It is drawn because someone must act, someone must enter the inferno so that others may sleep in peace. Huath is the embodiment of earned power. Its presence warns that unjust or ego-driven violence corrupts the soul, that destruction for its own sake invites ruin. But when the blade is lifted under sacred vow, with clarity of purpose and heart unshaken, it becomes a purifier, a weapon of sacred wrath. Hawthorn's taboo reminds the dragon slayer that force must serve justice, not appetite. To wield Huath rightly is to embody the burden of necessary action, to know that even in doing what must be done, scars will remain. Initiation through fear. The true passage through Huath is not external. It is an inner crucible, a fire that strips the slayer down to essence. Dragons do not test only the body, they test the soul. The fear the slayer feels before crossing the boundary is not cowardice. It is the threshold's honesty. What lies ahead will not spare them. The dragon's breath sears more than flesh it scalds the past, the illusions, the false faces. To pass through Huath is to allow the old self to burn, to accept that return means never being the same. The slayer who emerges from Huath is marked, changed. They may speak the same, move the same, but something within them is irrevocably altered. They have stood before the mouth of the abyss and did not run. They have entered the place of taboo, of unspeakable danger, and did what had to be done. They have become more than they were and lost something in the becoming. The thorns keep the world safe. In a world threatened by dragons, literal or metaphorical, Huath is the last defense. It is the unseen gate, the scarred guardian, the place where the world is held together by those willing to stand alone against fire. Not everyone can cross into the heart of darkness. Fewer still return. The Slayer's walk through Huath is both a vow and a warning. This path is not for the untried or the untrue. Huath is the blade that must sometimes be drawn to protect the innocent, not with glory, but with grief. It is the sacred boundary between chaos and the quiet, and those who bear its mark are never unmarked again. Their thorns are not curses, they are the signs that someone dared to walk the edge, to suffer the price, and to guard the world from the flames no one else would face.